Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review show, hosted by a French professor who's going to keep it 92 plus 8 with you. I have to do this video because my channel is tanking. No one cares about Girl in Red, no one cares about English Teacher. I've done some great videos this week. They're not getting views, but I know what y'all want. Y'all want hot, steaming rap beef, so I'm going to serve it up to you. Now, I'm an old fool from the old school, so all my favorite beefs involve LL Cool J. We're talking Cool Mo D, Can I Bus? Those are the two main ones. Which, now that we have yet another Drake beef, I think it's fair to say that Drake is the next LL Cool J, both in terms of his pop crossover ability and then the fact that everybody wants to take shots at him and he has to constantly defend himself. And maybe he's even as good as LL Cool J at defending himself. We'll talk about that. But I'm not just going to do the thing that everyone's doing of just reading the lyrics and just saying, damn, ooh, hard, cool, right? I want to take this more analytically. How do you come at the person who's generally respected as the greatest living rapper, okay? The person who is generally accepted, Kendrick Lamar, as being the best that rap has to offer. How do you attack that person? What angles do you take? Before I get to that, let's get to the song, the beat. It's fine. It's fine. Do 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 do, and then sometimes there's not that. It's just the bass. Doesn't really matter. There's a little B section at the end. It's fine. The issue is this: the attacks, the response that Kendrick could make is already half written in the mind of anybody who hears this song. That's maybe the reason why Drake shouldn't have said anything, because the second that you hear that I heard this song and I heard people say he didn't release it officially, I'm like, this could be AI. And everyone said, this could be AI. Dude, the battle's over. You released a song and people thought it might have been AI? It doesn't matter how good your bars are. They thought you could have been a computer. Drake lost while winning. And it took 4 people to write this song? It took 4 producers to write this song? There's that old Chris Rock joke about Blair Witch Project. This movie cost $30,000. All I'm saying is someone is walking around with $29,500 in their pocket. Like you're trying to tell me 4 people had to write this beat. You write this beat in an afternoon. So who's writing? Who's getting writing credit, and what are they getting writing credit for? Probably for writing the lyrics. So even before you open up the file, even before you hit play, you have a song which is the listener. I assume even Drake fans are kind of thinking, yeah, it's kind of AI ghostwritten. But still, it hits. Still, I argue, it's better than Kendrick's verse. It's better than the Mysterious Cole song. I think it's the best entry in this whole little beef. And that happens. So let's study the angles of attack. I have outlined 7 different angles of attack that you could possibly make. Okay? 1, this is the hardest one, quality of art. The argument that he is not as good of a rapper as everyone thinks he is or as he thinks he is. Number 2, success, financial success. If rap is a competitive game, if it is a competitive art, which if you read about the history of rap music and hip-hop, it is competitive, then success is a measure. I just taught today, 10:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I taught my hip-hop class, and my class was on Drake. Today's class happened to be on Drake. I had them watch the FD Signifier video. One of my students raised their hand and was upset because she thought it was too biased against Drake. Fair enough point. But I just taught about Drake, and he is the GOAT. Drake is the GOAT of staying relevant and popular. No one's come close. The person who came closest was LL Cool J. Coincidence? I don't think so. Direction of influence and admiration. So this is the whole thing. We have people who have been friends before and worked together before who now have to differentiate each other and say, no, you like me. No, I like you. No, you like me. I don't like you. Okay? Then we get to intelligence and independence, which is the most interesting aspect, where Drake is attacking Kendrick Lamar as being not independent, but being just an agent of a record company. Then we get to the worst, ad hominem attacks. Come on. Come on, ad hominem attacks. If you don't know, ad hominem is directed against a person rather than the position they are maintaining. Okay? So that means, I'll talk more about that, but that really means that you're not attacking, you're not doing bars, you're just making fun of them for being short, right? And then the rubber glue attack, which is just, You said something. No, actually you. So what you said is rubber, Kendrick, and I'm rubber actually, and you're glue. And so what you rapped bounces back at you, and then finally just strays, just other people getting shot and hit in this whole little rap war. So I'm going to be bringing this up at times. Let's talk about the quality of art. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. All he has for attacking Kendrick's art is that he did verses with Maroon 5 and Taylor Swift. I don't have all of the guest appearances that Drake has made on pop appearances, but this, he's got nothing to stand on. He's saying that he's getting, wiped or washed by 21 Savage, by Travis and SZA. Already, first of all, like, Drake is essentially saying that these rappers are better than him. So they're basically, he's using these other rappers to serve as his champion. So it's not even that Drake is better than Kendrick, but at least Travis is better than Kendrick. So that's his weakest point of attack. And he knows that, which is why most of the song is not centered on this attack. Now, when Kendrick comes back, this is his easiest place to get at Drake because of the ghostwriting allegations, because of the confirmed ghostwriting, because of the changing styles. And the question I kept asking over and over and over again in my class today, I asked my students on 6 different times, who is Aubrey Drake Graham? That's the question. Is he from the 6? Is he from Memphis? Is he from Houston? Is he a grime rapper? Is he a Jamaican guy? Like, who is he? Who is this guy really? Like, who is he really? It doesn't come through in his rhymes. And then we get to success, the second thing here. And this is interesting because the first example that he gives can be easily refuted. He talks about how he can play in Japan. Hey, Drake, dude, there's a lot of racial politics involved with what black artists have success in Asia. This is just a fact. Like, it's sort of a thing that when you market in Asian countries, like Force Awakens, when that came out, they had to take the Finn character, you know, and they had to make his head smaller on the Asian posters because they didn't want to be there. There's like a certain kind of African American star who is widely accepted in Asian cultures. So this is where it gets spooky because, as I explained in my class today, Drake is really stuck. He's really stuck in between 2 different worlds, being half white and half black and being bullied his whole life for being half black and half white, bullied by racists, bullied by colorists, bullied by everybody on every possible side. He's opening up his flank right here, being like, I'm accepted in Japan. Kendrick, dude, you know, like when you're like attacking some kind of thing in a video game and it's got the armor and then it goes up like this and there's a space in its neck. There's like this little like red thing. It's like, that's where the arrow goes. Once again, talking about Mr. Morale bricked. Can we have an agreement on this? Mr. Morale did not brick. It was just an ambitious album that didn't do as well as it could have, but it wasn't supposed to. Talks about getting more love in LA. Is that true? And numbers-wise, I'm out of here. Beautiful. That's why I like Drake. That's a perfectly executed line. Then we get to the direction of influence and admiration. This is where we go, it's very tied into success. And this is where I think Drake is the most interesting figure in pop music. Because it's sort of like Kanye does a similar thing, but there's this kind of vampiric quality that's actually mutually beneficial. He's a nice vampire. He sucks your credibility, and then you suck his power. And then you have this kind of reciprocal relationship. What's that term? Symbiotic. It's a symbiotic relationship that he has with all these people who he works with. So when he worked with Kendrick, it gave him the benefit of being with the cool guy from LA who's up and coming, and it gave Kendrick the visibility of the new pop star crossover guy. It's this constant thing. So it's one of the weirdest areas of him to attack because the direction of influence and admiration, everybody is using everybody. That's part of Drake's problem. That's probably why he sings about it so much in his music. He's constantly using people and he's constantly being used. Always, always. Just always. Oh, I'm a Baltimore Club guy now. Okay, Baltimore Club, take this, take that. Give this, give this, give that. Everything in his relation, everything. It's exchange value. Everything is exchange value. So it says, I gave you number 1. I gave Rick Ross number 1. And most of the whole thing is based on financial independence. It's all based on financial acumen. It's on the intelligence. And that's what I didn't expect. And this is the wildest thing. And this is why I think this is a great diss. Because this guy is attacking a millionaire for not being more millionaire. He's not saying you're poor. He's not saying you don't got no money. He's saying you got finessed. It's like he understands that in this beef, the people on the street are not going to relate. None of us can relate. None of us can relate to having 50%, 100% of having points, of being multi-millionaires, okay? Kendrick's grandkids are not going to have to work. That's how successful he is with making his mouth make sounds, okay? That's how successful he is. But because rap is a competitive art, and because financial independence is such a sign of strength, because for so many years and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades, artists, not exclusively, but especially black artists, have been manipulated and controlled by all these financial instruments, all these corporations that figure out how to make sure that they get 90 cents on the dollar, okay? How they get 97 cents on the dollar, how they get most of the streaming money, how that happens. So the fact that Drake's contract is largely artist-friendly, he put himself in that position, he's bragging about something that nobody can touch him on. They can't. They can't touch him on it. Like, this is the thing that he did. And so it's this really smart attack because that's the origin of the song, give you 50, because he has to apparently give 50% of his royalties to Top Dog, his record company. Which is like, fine. Like, that's the way record companies work. They always do that. Like, you're just always screwed. You have to be super special and amazing to have any control over your artistic product. You think I make 50% of the revenue on this, on the ads that you just watched? No, I make like 12% maybe, and I'm doing all the damn labor. I'm getting finessed by Google. Smash like bucket, subscribe, AVAA means awesome videos always. I will always heart that. Join my Patreon, okay? But I'm getting finessed all over the place. Creators are being finessed all over the place. Drake is one of the few who is being slightly less finessed. He's still being finessed. He's not really independent. He's not George Lucas. He's not whatever the hell Kanye is going to be next year. He's not getting 100%, 100 on the dollar, but he's getting a lot. So I love this angle because it's interesting and it's new. It's like, all right, Drake, you did it. You opened up a whole new lane of attacks. And then you got the ad hominem garbage, dude. I learned something. So I grew up with three brothers. We make fun of each other all the time. That's the way that we express love. That's the way that we compete with each other. Constant insults, constant putting each other down. I don't know if it's like a Boston thing, whatever it is. That's just how we are together. We bust each other's balls, you know? But there's one rule that was instilled by my father, rest in peace. One rule that my father instilled, and my mother insisted on as well. You never make fun of something that someone can't change. So that can apply to race, that can apply to gender, that can apply to size, that can apply to skin tone, that can apply to hair color, that can apply to having hair versus not having hair, that can apply to having big ears, having small ears, whatever it is unworthy of yourself to try to attack your opponent for something they can't change. Kendrick Lamar cannot change the fact that he was born with the genetics he was born with and that he is the size that he is. And if his shoes are size 7, then so be it. I'm 6'1", and I feel short because my brothers are all 6'5". And I have a little bit of a Napoleon complex, not a super big Napoleon complex. But had they made fun of me for that, for the fact that they were all 5 inches taller than me, 4 inches taller than me, I felt like a little pipsqueak my whole life, but they never did. Props to my brothers. And also, like, it's too easy. It's too easy to make fun of me for that. Make fun of me because I'm arrogant. Make fun of me because I didn't know how to wash my hair. So I thought you had to wash your hair dry. So I would like just take Pert Plus and just rub it in my hair as hard as I possibly could, completely dry, for like years. I was a numbskull, okay? Make fun of that. Make fun of that in the comments if you want, all right? So you are small, your feet are small, you are a midget, you are a pipsqueak. Drake, dude, that's fine. It's fine. But then the problem is this opens up to that same issue where the main thing that people have made fun of Drake for so long has just been coded behind ideas of colorism and racism. So the things that Drake can't change, the fact that he is half Canadian Jewish, half Black American, those things, that's the easiest way to attack him. I mean, I guess you could attack him for having like the goofy hair stuff, but that's something he can change. Like the things he can't change are the things that he was bullied about and the things, right? Like you should make fun of Drake for being a sellout, for having ghostwriters, for a million things, but not the facts of his body, not the things he can't change. And then finally we have rubber glue. I'm not your number one, you're not my number one fan, I'm your number one fan. Or you're not my number one fan, you're not gonna take my chain, I'm gonna take your chain. The Michael Jackson line is perfect because, and I mentioned this when I talked about Kendrick's verse, he left his flank open when he compared himself to Prince and Drake to Michael Jackson. You can't insult somebody by calling them like one of the greatest, most important artists of the past 50 years. That's not an insult. Like, you can call him, I don't know, Morris Day, who was great, but you know, that was like Prince's associate or whatever. Like it's not a real insult. I mean, unless it was like trying to be all about the inappropriate stuff with minors that Drake is rumored to do. I don't think that's what it was. So, you know, just the calling him, what's a prince to a king, he's a son. Beautiful line, perfect. That was, frankly, Kendrick served it up and Drake just spiked it down. And then we get the strays, Weeknd's getting strays, Metro makes some drums. Leave Metro alone. He's got nothing to do with this. Metro deserves all the credit in the world for everything, always, compared to any of you numbskulls. And Rick Ross trolls on him for turning 50. It's funny because like I'm here and I feel kind of old because I'm like, I remember when it was Can I Bus? I remember trying to figure out how to use the internet to hear the most recent diss from LL Cool J on Can I Bus. I remember being on the 3rd floor in Boston. Like I remember where I was. I remember where I was sitting on my bed at 22 years old, 21 years old, trying to figure out the goddamn internet. How do I hear the song? But these two dudes are turning 40, right? I mean, whatever. They're just, I mean, they're, you know, it's okay. And the ending is perfect. The ending is perfect. This ain't even everything I know. Don't wake the demon up. Drop and give me 50, all you F-ns teaming up. And I love that because the last image he gives is essentially of him alone in a karate pose, surrounded by all these enemies, and he's got to fight them all. He's putting himself in the hero position. He's relegating Kendrick to just a member, like, you know, like when you watch, like when you read Batman or whatever, and like before you get to the Riddler, before you get to Joker, there's all the henchmen who like get there, and you know they're just fodder. You just mow him down. Drake puts himself in the Batman position, and he's just knocking them out, and there's just one henchman after another, and at a certain point you're like, well, was one of these supposed to be the supervillain? Because Drake just, in the parlance of our time, bodied you all. So there's my thoughts, my desperate attempt for clicks. You know, there you go. There's my analysis. What do you think? Was this a fun way to approach it? What do you think was his strongest angle? I think his strongest angle was the independence angle, the 4th one. And then at the end he said, I wanted to keep it PG, and that's the problem. That's the problem, is that he's now independent. Kendrick is now independent. So maybe even that super strong angle is undone because he started PG Tips or PG Lang, whatever it is, the thing he's doing now. All right. Until next time. There's the camera.